Hey, what's good, people? This is Sports Debate Tuesday. I'm back with Timmy B. This is episode 98 or 99. Who cares, man? The UFC 295 is coming up and we got to talk about it. Buckle up, people. The episode starts right now. It's good, Timmy B.
What's up?
Yes, only you, me, and this cat are crazy enough to be doing this on Tuesday afternoon. But here we come, people. This is an NY Varsity Sports presentation. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. Along with my man Timmy B, I'm Jason DeBeas, and we're going to talk some shop. We're going to talk some MMA, and more exclusively, we're going to talk the UFC. Someday we got to get someone in there, man. I gotta get that DAZN, those DAZN credentials, and then we'll start doing that more. Because after all, both of our favorite fighters is still there, right? Demetrius Johnson. Yeah.
There we go.
I really hope he can get that video game sponsorship back or something like that. I remember when he was in the UFC and they were allowed, remember before the sponsor thing? He was killing it as a gamer, man. They were loving DJ.
He still does a bunch of Twitch stuff though, right? I think he's always on Twitch.
Yep.
I think so. So I mean, like, he's killing it in his own right.
Yeah.
Well, and he's made his kabillions of dollars.
Well, you can call him and ask him. I mean, come on, you got him on speed dial, right?
Exactly.
All right.
I've never tried to reach out to him. I've never tried to reach out to Demetrius. I always figure he's just like outside my stratosphere.
Yeah.
My podcast. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, he don't even come on Ariel's.
You know what?
He doesn't even come on Ariel's show, right?
He doesn't?
Have you ever seen him on Ariel's show? Maybe a couple of years ago.
So, you know what's funny though is that Bobby Green had a long-standing thing where he would not go on Ariel's show, and he came on mine.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
Just because you can't get on Ariel doesn't mean you can't get on the Fight Insight podcast, baby.
Well, we're actually going to talk to Ariel about Ariel at the end. Him and Chael Sonnen had a little bit of a spat, and I thought we could have a little bit of fun with that. Where Ariel, only in the end for Ariel, let's say, oh, I gave these randos their shine. I mean, I'm already going to say that, so this way he got nothing left to say. But if it ever happens, but I will say big up to that man because he was a pioneer. There was a time when he was the only person doing this down. You know what I'm saying? Down from the beginning and. Anyone that knows anything about me, I'm fair. But my like and my dislike for someone doesn't affect my critical thinking skills. So I respect the dude. Sometimes I don't like him. Sometimes I do. It is what it is. Such is life. All right. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to have our pick 6, or should I say pick 5, and one fly under the radar, our original idea. But first things first. We got a lot of good main events coming up. Just announced a couple of days ago. As of this podcast, we have a January main card main event. We have a February main card main event. And we have a March main card main event in the form of Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera, with Dricus du Plessis and Alexander Volkanovski against Ilia Topuria. Now,
wait, hold on. You missed Dricus du Plessis versus
our man, Sean Strickland, because I thought I had the Sean covered. Strickland, don't come to my house with that body odor and threaten to beat me up. All right, chill. Strickland's our Stone Cold Steve Austin, except he's not trying to beat up the boss. He really is.
Not yet. But and that's in Toronto. That's in my hometown, baby.
What? So, that's right.
I mean, the fact that they're bringing a UFC pay-per-view to Toronto in January is the stupidest thing on the planet. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, even as a person in Toronto, I don't want to be going downtown, waiting outside in the freezing cold. Could be a blizzard that day. I don't know.
Super Bowl weekend too. Yeah, I mean,
why would you friggin' bring it to Toronto unless they just want? The only reason I'm thinking is because they want to show that they're in a snowy environment, because that would be unique for them, like when they're doing the shots of the arena and stuff. To have it be snowy and stuff. But odds are you're gonna get like a disgusting polluted area with a bunch of like slush, which is what we normally have. So you're not gonna get the beautiful winter wonderland. I don't know, but anyways, it's a weird thing.
It really is.
We can talk about it later. Sorry.
So listen, these champions, I mean, you want to talk about cementing their brand to main event status. They've done that. Where the challengers, who are not only deserving, but as far as championship matches happen to go, they're at the right place at the right time. So with that being said, 60 seconds. We're gonna do our lightning rounds. You get a whole minute for this. Which one of these three main events are you most looking forward to? And oops, here we go again. Sorry about that. Man, I got to fix this. I'm on chroma key, right? But I'm supposed
Yeah.
to be on luma key for this. And sorry, let's switch to lumi key. And cool. Now our minute can come up. Watch this. 60 seconds, brother. Which one you looking forward to? Go.
Man, you know what? The DDP versus Sean Strickland is a really good one. That should be my pick, especially because I'll probably be there in person if UFC gives me media credentials, you bastards.
Well, they
Uh,
should. Just ask
but
Uncle Dana.
but the problem is that I like both of them, so I'm gonna be upset no matter who loses or who wins. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna be like happy but sad. So I'm gonna say that my pick for my favorite one is gonna be O'Malley versus Chito Vera because Sean O'Malley has been kicking ass. He's been making me lots of money as I keep betting on him as the underdog. Now on this one, for sure, he's going to be the favorite, so I probably won't make my millions that I'm used to. But Sean O'Malley, very exciting fighter. I think he destroys Cheeto. I don't think Cheeto's been looking that great lately, and I think Sean O'Malley's only getting better and better. Sean O'Malley's the guy to watch, man.
Nice. Your timing is awesome. There goes the horn. All right, so I'm gonna go 1 minute on this. Now, I'm gonna go with you, Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera for all of the same reasons, but uh,
Damn.
um, I'm very, very curious. Not which Sean O'Malley is going to show up. The real question is which Cheeto Vera is going to show up. If you remember Cheeto Vera in the beginning, the hungry Cheeto Vera was murking Frankie Edgar. That was head kicking, whatever. And I saw a little less hunger and aggression and that thing that brought him to the table the last match. One of them he lost, I believe, which actually got him out of title contention. The man won every fight except for that one, including Sean O'Malley. I remind everybody. I mean, Sean O'Malley had a little bit of injury, but I think that was hungry Cheeto Vera. I don't see hungry Cheeto Vera this time. But if that changes between then and now, I mean, it is November. If that changes where he, I saw him in the MMA Hour. He was really upset at some of the things that Sean O'Malley literally called Ariel. And Ariel, of course, the instigator that he is, asked for permission to put him on speakerphone. Knowing that Sean O'Malley's going to say yes. But let's not ignore some of these matches with Volkanovski. Two deserving people, skill set, styles make matchups. That shouldn't be ignored. And I know they're not moving the needle and there's no big, huge story to tell. Those are just a deserving champion versus a deserving challenger, right? Sean Strickland, Duplessis, there's a little bit of a story to tell there too as well. And again, Duplessis is deserving. So that's why I was excited to talk about this. These are three very deserving challengers who right? They, as far as meritocracy is concerned, there's no one in this mix that didn't deserve it, right? Think about it. Vera only lost one match in his run to this championship.
Yeah. Fine, sure.
I mean, it don't mean he's gonna win. It's just I'm just saying he deserves to get his butt kicked if he is who we think he is.
And the important thing is that we're getting a different matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see him versus. I'm tired of the rematches. I don't want to see rematches anymore. What's great about these three fights that they have lined up?
Mm-hmm.
All of them are original matchups. Mind you, the Cheeto Vera Sean O'Malley is a rematch, but that's from years ago, right?
Which he won, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like seeing the immediate rematches is what I'm saying. And all three of these are fresh new contenders for that title in this moment. So that's what I'm excited for.
And I don't think there'll be a rematches after any of these matches. I think unless someone...
If Volk loses, it's immediate rematch.
Right. I think
because he's been champion for so long. It doesn't matter that will be his third loss in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I
wonder, like, let's say Topuria dominates for almost all 5 rounds and finishes him in a 4th, right? Maybe there won't be if he gets caught in the beginning. Look, I'm sitting here skirting around an answer you have already answered.
Oh, sorry, crap. He beat Yair Rodriguez in between the 2 Islam losses.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It still doesn't change my mind. He still will have lost 3 or 4, but they'll still give him an immediate rematch because he's a company man. He's done what the UFC has asked him. He's taken those short notice fights. He's put his name on the line, put his legacy on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So if he loses via first, second knockout, via 4 minutes and 59-second knockout in the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
After he gets dominated for 5 rounds, I still say he gets his
I
rematch
do
because
too.
of who he
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I wasted our time even talking about it when you already answered it. You really did. And Volkanovski, I think I just want to remind people. Okay, he lost 2 of his 3 matches, but one of those matches, many people thought he won. All right, I know we're all prisoners of the moment, and we can only remember the Volkanovski that got KO'd, brutally KO'd by Islam Makhachev. But let's pump the brakes here. All right, that's the first time I've ever seen him finished in that form. I haven't checked his win-loss record as far as his losses being finishes or KOs, but guys, this is a guy who a lot of people thought that he got the rematch because a lot of people thought he won the first one. I did not.
Right.
I thought Makhachev won. Okay, I'm just saying that up front, but close enough to talk about. Very deserving champion, and like you said, very deserving rematch. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Since we both got a hard stop, let me move on to the next one because there's so much to talk about with the other things. All right. Now this is topic 2. I'm dedicating this one to the light heavyweight division, all right, which might be some people's least favorite division right now. The light heavyweight division has had a lot of peaks and valleys, all right. In the last 4 years, it has been the weakest division, and we can discuss why after we get we address this topic as we continue to go. But there was a time when it was not only one of the strongest divisions, but the staple of the UFC, legends like Shogun, transcendent athletes, like Chuck Liddell, even Ultimate Fighter winners made the division and put the UFC out of the red and into the black. And in salute to that feat, this topic is for them. So, my man, Timmy B, so glad to have you, brother. Who are your top 5 light heavyweights of all time? Now, I will premise this before you answer this. They don't have to necessarily be champions.
Yes, thank you.
Actually,
good.
Actually, since you went first on the other one, I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
We'll switch up. We'll manipulate, make this seem even-handed if there is such a thing. All right, so for my 5th, I'm gonna go Tito Ortiz, the Huntington Beach bad boy, who a lot of people should be higher up in this when you take into consideration that he ties the record for most title defenses, or at the time had 5 title defenses, which is a long time record, which has been broken, I'm sure at this point. But I dropped him down on the list because you take into consideration that one of those matches is Elvis Sinasek and Evan Tanner. Okay, big deal. All right. Number 4, this guy's never been a champion, Anthony Rumble Johnson, R.I.P. God rest his soul. Look at his lineup of fighters. Look at Gustafsson. Look at Teixeira, right? And the only reason why he has not been a champion is because of a guy named Daniel Cormier. Absolutely starch Ryan Bader. All right, number 3, Chuck the Iceman Liddell, knocking people out on his back foot, right? Just planting and taking people down for title defenses, not to mention his transcendent nature. Did films, brought UFC on the map with the Mohawk. I got to go Daniel Cormier, and the only reason Daniel Cormier is second is because John Jones is first. Now, if you need more than a minute, this is 5 people. I ran out of time, but this is 5 people, and we can definitely spill over. But go ahead.
All right, tell me what. All right, my time starts now. Okay. In 5th place for me, these are my next 2 are guys who I foresee moving forward, but it's Anatoly Malikin, who's in ONE FC. He's their current light heavyweight champion. He's their heavyweight champion as well. He's champ. He just went down to light heavyweight to claim that title off of Reiner de Ritter, who is a massive star.
Yeah.
This guy is a killer. If he can stay at light heavyweight, I think he can do great things. And I think he can put ONE FC on the map with that light heavyweight title, because that's a contender that I think would be comparable to fighting in the UFC or in the Western organizations. I think he'd do really well. Anatoly Malikin. 4th place for me, Vadim Nemkov. He's the light heavyweight champion for Bellator.
Oh, man.
Undefeated, right? Isn't he? Vadim Nemkov? Hold on.
To my knowledge.
Yeah.
So how about this clock, man? This is no 1 minute question.
17-2. Nadim Vemkov, Vadim Nemkov, very good.
Keep going.
My time is up.
No, the hell with the clock. This ain't a 1 minute question.
In third place, I got John Jones. Of course, you cannot leave him off the list, but I'm putting him lower down because the guy's a druggie and a cheat and a horrible human being. Daniel Cormier comes in 2nd place for me because of everything that he did. He beat the best, man. Like, he was in there when he was truly fighting big contenders. And then number 1 for me, I'm glad you had him on your list, is Chuck Liddell. I think Chuck Liddell he was the guy that kept the UFC alive. He was the guy that was the face of the UFC, along with Tito as well. But Chuck with that mohawk, just with the kind of guy he was, with the image, the presentation, kind of like the dad bod, the beer belly, but still knocking dudes out and kicking ass. That guy was UFC, man. So that guy for me is
Yeah.
number one, like heavyweight. No one will ever beat him. I don't. No one.
Dude, the back foot
Ever.
KOs. Like
Yeah.
you
No one
look
will
at
ever beat
that
him.
and you're like, that doesn't seem possible. That's what you
No.
do to like no, but the way he was backfooting that was to like stave off people, right? Play it's
Yeah.
almost like defense,
Killer.
but instead it's like a KO. And
Yeah. No.
muscular dudes like dropping. I forgot.
Yeah.
Not Randleman. It was another guy. It was huge, just huge muscular dude. Beat Tito twice, right? And
Yeah.
Tito,
No. He's amazing.
prime
And a
Tito,
great human being.
prime
And a
Tito.
great human being.
Yeah.
I saw him. I'll give you a quick thing. I saw him while I was in Vegas. A bunch of friends and us, we were at a show. This was when UFC Tough One was like kind of a thing, like not even really.
Right.
This is way back early on. That tells you how old I am. And then we're in Vegas, and he walks into the show that we were at. Nobody pays attention to him. Like nobody knows who he is in this theater. And he walks by, and I'm like, that's Chuck Liddell. And I'm like, Chuck, hey, what's up? He goes, oh, hey. And he comes over, signs some autographs for me and a couple of other people in the front rows that were like kind of like realizing who he was.
Yeah.
Signs autographs, really nice. The concierge has to come over and go, sir, can you please go sit down to Chuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck's like, oh, okay. And then he goes off. Then we're all like, holy cow, what a nice guy, And then in comes Randy Couture. And we're like, wait, that's Randy Couture. We go, oh, no, not Randy. Sorry. Oh my God, this is terrible podcasting. The guy that got hit by the train. The guy.
Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes comes in. We're like, hey, Matt Hughes, hey, what's going on? We're big fans. He looks at us and then walks away, like ignores us. And we're all like,
and he as a Jesus freak, he fails in that regard. Yeah. His whole life to God and want to act like that. He don't got no humility, man. I heard same
Chuck
stories
Liddell,
about
great
him.
Dude.
Yes,
great dude, Chuck Liddell. So top of the list.
Well, here's what I didn't consider when I was doing this list. I didn't consider on a heightened level ambassadorship to the sport of mixed martial arts. In that case, I thought, but because I didn't consider it, looking back retrospectively, I probably still have Chuck at number 3, if not number 2. What I did consider, though, and I'm glad you highlighted them, I did consider fighters that fought for other promotions than the UFC, because all 5 of my top 5 were in the UFC, but I was making reference to all-time status. And Nemiroff, when it's all said and done, I think he probably passes Tito on this list, right? Rumble, I mean, it's easy to pass on his list because he's never won a championship, right? And as you notice in my 60 seconds, I didn't spend a lot of time on Daniel Cormier and John Jones for obvious reasons.
You don't have to.
You don't, because the rivalry was so recent and it was so settled and so settled at the end with the drug abuse and then the picograms of performing enhancing drugs and just the emotional trauma that Daniel Cormier had to go through. Like, all right, I lost to this guy. I accept the loss. 2 days later, he tests positive. It's like, do I accept the loss? And I'm like, God, I can't. He's like, I can't just have a fight with this guy and win or lose and walk away. There's always got to be some self-doubt, and I really hated that. I really hated that situation for Daniel Cormier, and that's as much as I want to touch on that, because that can be its own topic in its own. And we're trying to do a hard stop, and we're trying to actually get something everyone wants to listen to, and we could certainly do that for episode 99 or episode 100 of Sports
Write it in the
Tuesday.
comments. Write in the comments what you want us to talk about next time.
100%.
Put it in the comments now, and then we'll do it.
Yes, people definitely comment, because people are scared to talk to me. They DM me in private. Nobody wants to comment in the comment section because they think their opinions are going to get torn apart. All right, so let's go to topic 3. By the way, great top 5. I really love that you had Nemiroff on that list. And I really, and Bellator, I would have put McGeary in there. I mean, if he kept going the way he was going, Liam McGeary was just, at the time, right? Prime McGeary was a savage. So we are going to go to our, did I put NFL pick 6? Let's UFC 295 pick 6, because no NFL, boys. This is all mixed martial arts, and in this case, this is the UFC. This is 295. Let's start with the main event. Let's go split 60 seconds, 30 and 30 for Yuri Prohaska versus Alex Pereira. You go first, brother. The floor is yours.
I'm picking Alex Pahea to win this one. I just want to see him win. I think the guy is a superstar. I think him moving up makes the division more interesting. I think if Yuri does not get it done, I think Alex being the champion opens up a lot of very exciting fights that I'm interested to see. He's just a cool looking friggin' dude. I also, Yuri, I don't know if there's some sort of, I don't like the hair. I don't like the style of this dude. It's weird. Cultural appropriation. Get this guy out of here. Alex Pahea.
Let's go. So listen, Yuri, I mean, I really agree with the ponytail. It almost got him guillotine choked. He almost wasn't even a champion against Glover Teixeira, if you remember. But with that being said, this man has 29 wins, 25 of them by knockout, including an impressive submission, one of his 3 submissions on the Submission King, Glover Teixeira. And watching the Reyes fight, the dude has a chin. Reyes was loading up on that left hook, and this guy just kept coming. And he's going to keep coming against Pereira. I got Yuri Prochazka.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's go to our second one. Our second one is Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. I'm glad I said Sergey right, because there's another Sergey, right? There's a Spivak that's Sergey, right?
Yeah.
Sergey, Sergey, and Sergey. All right, no gay for Serg, baby. No forget Sergey. For the MMA diehards, y'all know what I mean. That's what's up. All right, so Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. I'm gonna go first on this one. All right, Tom Aspinall, 13-3, 6-1 in the UFC. That doctor stoppage by Curtis Blades, one of the most complete fighters in the division, and that's the reason why I'm going to be picking him. He's got knockout power in both hands. He's got slick jiu-jitsu, and his wrestling's okay. And Pavlovich, he's one of those guys where if he takes him down, he still has to watch out. If he's on his feet, he has to watch out. And any fight where a guy has to watch out for all 5 rounds, I have a hard time picking him. I'm going Aspinall.
I am going with Sergey. The Englishmen have let me down a few times as I picked them. And so this is just betting, right? I'm doing this so that people watching this can make money. I'm saying Sergey. I just saw a stat that showed that he was what? Hold on one second here. He has, in terms of legendary KO runs, he is second longest UFC knockout streaks in history with 6 for Sergey Pavlovich. The only man that beats him, 7 knockouts, Chuck Liddell.
Wow. Not to mention, well, Alistair Overeem did caught him. Alistair Overeem KO'd
doesn't matter. I'm saying longest streaks.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
It's the longest streaks.
Yeah, no glossing.
UFC knockout streaks. Nice. So he's 6. I say he knocks out Aspinall and gets his 7th, ties the record.
Wow, you're right. Well, you had me at the Brits always let me down. I mean, the rest of the 30 seconds could have been to that. All right, you're going to go first on this one. Sharing a minute, baby. Sharing a minute for our pick 6. We got Mackenzie Dern versus Jessica Andrade.
Okay, I'm going to defer my 30 seconds so that instead you can just post pictures of Mackenzie Dern.
All right, cool. The rest of mine's, listen, Mackenzie.
Wait, hold on. You can't talk. There's 30 seconds of just pictures. I want you to edit in here the most beautiful pictures of Mackenzie Dern, and this so that everyone can see who my pick is. No, I'm just kidding. It's Mackenzie Dern, man.
You can't unring that bell. Now I got to put in the pictures.
She's very good. Yeah, okay, go.
All right, listen. This is a mismatch from hell. All right, Jessica Andrade is on a slide, though Tatiana Suarez was an undefeated problem for her. So, I mean, I don't really weigh that much into that loss because no one's going to beat Suarez. She's undefeated. She's a nasty BJJ savage. She's an amazing wrestler. So she has the ability to control whether her fight is on its feet or on the ground, something that BJJ people don't have. So to have the mixture of wrestling and that, she's a problem. She gets your hand on you, she's gonna win the match. She could probably win this match and not even throw a strike. She's on that level. And you're right. We could have shared 30 seconds on that and use the last 30. But now I got some work to do after this. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you know what? You're welcome.
Yes, dude. Well, look, you didn't get all dressed up for nothing, right? We gotta put some editing. We gotta put some work into this.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm feeling that blazer though, man. That looks like a Dunhill. Like, you look like a Brit for a Canadian. You're a hell of a Brit. Look at that. Look at that.
There
thing.
You go.
All right, I'm gonna go first on this, and our 5th match is Matt Favola. No, fourth match is Matt Favola versus Benoit Saint Denis. And I always say Benoit because I was a former
The
wrestler, and
crippler, baby.
I mean, we could talk about what really happened that night. I'm a conspiracy nut. I mean, I should have asked you about your favorite conspiracies, but we're not here to talk about conspiracies. We have 60 seconds, and I'm gonna pick a winner. Matt Favola has insane KO power. Tricky KO power. Drop Drew Dober, that slippy right hand counter. His third fight in almost 2 years. I'd like to see him more active. Benoit, what a war he had against Thiago Moises. He's willing to slug, and if Favola is willing to slug with this person, he's not gonna win. And I think he is. I think he's gonna get sucked into it, and it's right where Benoit wants him to go, and that's why I'm picking St. Denis.
Oh, you are picking St. Denis.
I am.
Okay. I am going with the same thing. I'm going with St. Denis as well. My reason is a little bit more conspiratorial and analytical, but as we know, Benoit or Benoit is similar to Chris Benoit, the WCW wrestler, who is part of the Four Horsemen, and he's the fourth fight on this card. Numerology is a real thing.
No.
Four Horsemen, fourth fight of our pick. You go with Saint Denis.
Man, you gotta love these freaking Canadians, right? They insist on saying Benoit, but they don't want to be Denis, right? If you're gonna go Benoit, say Saint Denis, no, right?
No, it's Denis. It's French. It's Benoit Saint Denis.
But it's not Benoit.
Maybe, I don't know. You said,
but I'm saying if you're gonna go Benoit, then don't do the other French thing. If you're gonna go
maybe. Yes. I don't know. It depends on how he wants to pronounce his name, though. So I don't know. In all honesty, I don't really follow these guys.
Yeah, like they say in Canada.
I feel that it's weird that these guys are even on this high on this card.
Like they say in Canada, there ain't no such things as halfway crooks. He's like, no, that's Queens, New York, dude. What are you saying? Hey, R.I.P. Prodigy, big up Mobb Deep, one of my favorite rap groups. That was Shook Ones. Sorry, Shook Ones. I was thinking Survival of the Fittest by Mobb Deep. All right, so match number 5. You go first on this one. We got Tabitha Ricci, if we want to be all linguistic about it, or against Lupi Godinez. Go ahead, baby.
Yeah. Fight Insight podcast, baby. One of my very first Canadian MMA fighters that we had on the podcast was Lupi Godinez. She is a killer. She's a monster. I will always appreciate her for coming on my podcast. And so therefore I cannot pick against Lupita Godinez. I think she gets the win. She's a killer. She's very, very good. I think this is an excellent matchup though. Like, this fight is crazy good. It should be higher on the card. It should be above the Matt Favola fight. But Lupi Godinez.
Nice. You know, Richie had a really nasty throw and transition into an armbar against Jessica Benet, and it's one of those things that make you look out for everything. But Godinez is not going to put her in that position. Godinez is in your face 24/7. When she gets hit, she's in your face. When she hits you, she's in your face. She doesn't give anyone a chance to create space. So and a lot of times those judo throws or whatever that require leverage require some space and require you to be on the right side of the cage. So that's why I'm going with you on this one. I'm going Godinez. All right. Great victory against Elise Reed, and she's going to have a great victory this weekend.
She's also upped her game. So for those that don't know, she was training in Canada up until until her last fight. After though some good wins and a few unfortunate losses, she's now gone down to Mexico and she's training with Alexa Grasso. So she's gone down to Mexico. She's training full-time down there. I think that makes her even more deadly. And so that's why I'm giving her the slight edge over Ricci.
Nice. All right. Yeah. So for the last one, guys, we usually do pick 6 on Sports Debate Tuesday because it started with the NFL, but we're doing MMA. And we stumbled onto a good idea. We're going to go pick 6, but except it's pick 5. And the 6th match is the match flying under the radar that no one's talking about, that they really need to take a serious look. And for this, we're going to have 1 whole minute apiece on this, all right? We're going to do the why on this because it's important. I'm going to go first on this one, and It's almost not fair because you might actually have the same match. So I'm gonna go first on this one. I'm gonna go Jared Gordon against Mark Madsen. All right, Jared Gordon, originally from Queens, New York. I'm a little biased. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a Brooklyn kid, Upper West Side. So I'm always affectionate to my own. But when you consider this guy's story, right? He's addicted to painkillers and subsequently heroin. From ages 19 to 23, he was homeless. He was panhandling. He was admitted to a psych ward on multiple occasions. Somehow got back into fighting and then got injured against Lentz and wound up on painkillers again and overdosed 3 times, and 2 of those times was technically dead. Was legally dead for 2 minutes. Twice. So survived painkillers, survived homelessness, survived neurological and medical addiction to illegal drugs and legal drugs. And here he is standing tall. And a match against Paddy Pimblett, I thought, man, that was nonsense. He beat Paddy Pimblett that match, all right? And I checked with 22 out of 23 outlets. And they all said the same thing. They were like, look, no one got screwed because it was that close. But if they have to pick someone, they pick Gordon. And I'm picking Gordon over the Olympic silver medalist. Mark Madsen.
Marco Madsen.
Yeah, Olympic silver medalist, MMA. He's seamless, and like most wrestlers, he decides whether to fights on his feet and on the ground. But yeah, it's a tough match, and I have no reason to pick Gordon because I know he struggles stylistically against these guys, but I think he's going to pull it through. Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, good choice. My pick is when does this come out? When do we release this?
Tomorrow or tonight.
Okay. So I have it on very good information. I'm picking the same fight, Jared Gordon versus Mark Madsen, but I have it on very, very good word that Jared Gordon is about ready to kick ass and is going to fucking finish this dude. Do you know why?
No.
Because I spoke with Jared Gordon 2 days ago on our podcast. It comes out on Thursday. He was the guest of the Fight Insight podcast. This dude, to be honest, I didn't think he was going to be a great guy. I didn't think I was really going to get along with him. And instead, the guy is the most genuine, humble, good man. And for everything that you said, all the things that he's overcome in his life, the last 2 fights, very crazy fights. The Paddy Pimblett fight, very controversial, that everybody believes he won. And then the Bobby Green fight with the headbutt thing, that was a controversial stoppage. He was doing very well before that.
Nobody's fault, right? Yeah, nobody's fault.
Jared Gordon is on a tear. He's ready to kick ass. If things were different, he would have just been coming off a win off of Paddy Pimblett and off of Bobby Green. We'd be having a far different conversation.
Think about that.
I think this guy gets it done. I'm glad that the UFC gave him this high spot on the card and with a very good opponent. But I think Jared Gordon gets it done. He's my friend for life, friend of the podcast, friend of mine.
You know, I'm actually glad you gave me a reason as to the why, because I picked him for no reason. Like, with Styles making matchups, this is not a good matchup for him. This dude is a constant. Listen, Madsen's a constant pressure guy, and he got cracked way too many times the last match in his loss. I mean, we could get into the why on that, but I forget who he fought. Let me take a look at that.
Madsen?
Yeah, Madsen got KO'd by someone. You could look it up as I continue to talk about this. But with no reason to pick Gordon, very much.
Grant Dawson submitted against Grant Dawson.
But it wasn't. It was a submission. But dude, no, it was a beatdown.
Yeah, because it was in the third. It was mid of the
until
third,
he gave him a way out. All right, let me just call it. I'm not trying to say, these fighters are quitters. I'm not in that, right? I'm not in that, whatever. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes that he got beat down and then found a way out to tap out. I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. I'm not getting in trouble.
I wouldn't say that to him to his face.
No, I wouldn't either, but he might self-examine. He might beat me up afterward and be like, is that guy right? No, but
Jared Gordon told me that he didn't even want to train these last 2 weeks. He's been ready to fight. He's been itching to go. He says he is ready, top of his game, blah, blah, blah. So let's see it.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going with him because I got to have faith. All right. This guy, to quote the song, I know my kingdom awaits. They've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
He better walk out to that song, actually, because he's from New York. Like you said. he should walk out to that song. I love it when people do that when they come to their
Yes.
hometown and use that
Or
song.
catch that I'm from New York thing, right? Catch that bus down on my wrist. I gotta put her on my bucket list. I got 100 guns, 100 clips. I'm from New York. What you thought? All right, so that's the end of our pick 5/1.
Yeah.
And still affectionately named pick 6. Let's go into topic number 4. This is always one of my personal favorites, though this subject might be not one of my favorites. But ladies and gentlemen, regardless, I bring you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
All right.
I was thinking about you and this show because the last time we did that segment, you played that shame part. I was watching a show on Netflix called Bodies, and there's a part where the guy's in the jail cell and they go shame, shame. And I was like, hey.
Isn't that awesome? All right, to shame or not to shame? 60 seconds. Francis Ngannou fought Fury 2 weeks ago, which wound up in a split decision in favor of Fury. All right. Now, a lot of people thought that Ngannou won the fight. And I guess when it's my turn, I'll get into who I thought won the fight. But I guess the question is to shame or not to shame on two parts, on the decision on who won the fight and the decision to make the fight. Shame or no shame?
I'm going shame on the decision. I'm going, I don't know. Like that, it was very, very close. What I will say, I'm going to flip this around a little bit, and I apologize, but I'm going shame on Ngannou. Ngannou, you idiot, and shame on your coaches. You're in the 10th round. You've survived against the greatest of all time. You should have gone all out in that 10th round. There should be no reason. I would rather see you get knocked out. I would still be such a fan of yours had you been knocked out in the 10th as I am today. So you had nothing to lose by putting it all on the line and fucking go for it. You had him, man. You had him. I feel like you had it. At the end of that 10th round, at the end of that bell, when that bell rang, you should have fallen to the floor in exhaustion, and you did not, meaning you still had stuff in the tank. And to have the chance to beat Tyson Fury, you will never have that again in your life, and you blew it. So shame on Ngannou.
Nice. Perfect. 2 seconds to spare on the horn. My dude. All right. So
when you go into the post-production, add a picture of Mackenzie Dern for those 2 seconds.
Dude, Mackenzie Dern is going to be.
You're welcome to the fans.
Dude, maybe you have to send me the picture because look, now that I have to edit it in, you got to send the picture because I'm not gonna.
I'm a married man. I don't have any of those photos.
We married, but we ain't blind. Come on, do you have eyes, my brother? What?
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, I'm actually gonna go split on this. I'm gonna go ain't no shame in Francis Ngannou's game for taking the fight. It's a big money opportunity. It was one of those things that didn't exactly kill it in the pay-per-view, but it didn't hurt his brand because pay-per-views compared to what? No more or less than a pay-per-view fight that he would have had in the UFC. So he lost in the boxing in regards to pay-per-views, actually numerically, but he's still gonna win because it was still gonna be more, including the pay. So why not test your mettle against the greatest in the world? Now, no shame goes to the decision. I know everyone sees like a knockdown and assumes someone won the fight for all of those rounds because of one knockdown. But consider this, like Conor McGregor knocked down Nate Diaz twice, but at the end of the round was covering up in the second round. So it was one of those things. It was like he should have won 10-8 because he knocked him down twice. But I'm like, you didn't see how the last 30 seconds of that fight finished. He escaped that round. So it's one of those things where I go no shame both ways. No shame in the fight, no shame in the decision, no shame in anyone's game. It was worth making. Maybe they could have done a better job promoting it because I didn't even know. I totally forgot that match happened. It was on a Saturday afternoon.
My co-host messaged me in the 4th round. Are you watching? So you're watching? I was like, oh shit.
You're like, watching what? You're like,
yeah, because it was early. Plus, like, really, I forgot about it. There wasn't much, promotion for it. Really, not on my end. I wasn't seeing tons of promotion. Yeah, so I almost missed it too. I went back and watched it in full too, but yeah.
I guess, yeah, you're right. I think I take that back, and I like to go back into that minute and say the shame comes to the people promoting it, because I totally forgot. I saw YouTube. I saw clips of the weigh-ins, and I'm like, oh, that match is tomorrow. There was no fight week about it. There was no hype about it. I'm not saying you had to go full Floyd, visit 4 cities and trash each other to make it happen. But they could have done a better job with that. And like you said, I had beach volleyball practice. I'm a coach, and I came back and I found out the fight was already over, and I'm just like, do I want to know who? And right now, like a moron, you have a decision to make. Do you want to know who won right away, or do you want to just like stay off of Twitter and find out who won later, right? So,
well, but the problem is though, like you do need to promote, because I know you're saying like who cares about the numbers, or you're kind of saying that, but like 10,000 buys, that's what I read? 10,000 buys?
ooh,
It was like nothing. Like it was like nothing. Now, obviously, you know, a lot of people stream and all that, but I don't know. I read 10,000 buys. I don't know
wow,
if that's real. No one ever gives any real numbers anymore.
no,
But here's the thing:
there are more
buys
views
usually,
for the weigh-in.
well, but then because it's
It's
free,
free.
right? Like, but that's the problem.
Ah,
But I don't think that these Saudi backers or Saudi investors can continue to just pour money in for
oh yes,
no
they
return.
can. Oh yes, they can.
But for no return,
They
for abs
That's
nothing, what's the
Arab
point?
money. That's Arab money. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
That's
I
Arab
guess,
money.
but it's just stupid though. But then if we're gonna say that, well then they could pay for you and I to fight each other and then say we're some of the greatest.
Yes. Money well money
That's
it's
yeah, but
because it
that's
doesn't
BS.
have to
It
be
does
money well spent for them. I'm not talking about
no,
is it
no,
worth
but
the
I think
money.
the
I'm talking about
return,
who's paying for it.
but the return on investment shows that nobody really cared about it. So when we
But you're
say
talking
like
about
look
a
at it,
group of, I'm interrupt you. You're talking about a group of people that will probably have old money that they throw in the fireplace to keep the wood burning.
I
Okay.
know.
$100
Yes,
bills. They're throwing in the fireplace to keep the wood burning.
that's fine, but what I'm
That's not
saying
a
though is
return
that
investment.
it really shows that nobody cares about it. Like it shows that like
Right.
look, you are fighting the greatest boxer of all time. You're possibly the greatest heavyweight MMA fighter,
Yeah.
and nobody's buying it across the world.
Mm.
Like it is kind of weird. Like I guess it's just the world we live in or the environment we live in and stuff like that with streaming and whatever. But like no promotion,
Uh-huh.
no buys. It is indicative of something. It
Yep.
tells us something. What it is, maybe I don't know, but
We're
it
doing
tells me.
that next episode, by the way. Top heavyweights of all time.
Oh, there you go.
And you know what? That's not on the UFC map. That's all over the map. Because if you remember, there was a 10-year period where 6 of the top 10 heavyweights in the world weren't even in the promotion.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
when Junior Dos Santos and Cain Velasquez were rivaling, everybody else was in Strike Force. Right? You
Yeah.
had Fedor,
Yeah.
you had Overeem, Daniel Cormier. At that time, Bigfoot was in my top 10, top 15, and it's just I know it's weird because
I'm just
in
saying. I'm just
retrospect, it's
saying.
like, dude, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right,
I'm
so
just. I'm
go
just.
ahead.
Yeah.
All
No,
right,
no, no. I'm just saying.
perfect. So, all right, guys, we're going on to topic number 5. This topic is called Quick Question. All right, so quick question, my man. True or false? O'Malley will be champion by through December 2024.
No.
No. Okay. Quick question. Should a fighter be in the rankings if they have not fought in a year?
I guess it depends if they are injured, then I would say, yeah, it's okay to leave them in there, although they should be moving around as other things happen. But if you are not accepting fights or if you're in contract disputes or something like that, no, then you maybe should be pulled out.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with you on that one. And on the first topic, I didn't answer that. I'm going to go yes with Sugar Sean.
Oh,
Especially if we believe he's going to beat Cheeto Vera, and especially, I mean, if he's going to not give Marab a title shot. Um, Quick question: should Derek Lewis retire?
should Derek Lewis retire? Well, he's retired once before and then he's come back. So I don't even know what his current
Contract is, yeah. Did he fight?
I don't know what
Did he
well, I
sign
don't know
it?
what his current contract is. I don't know what his current run is even for. Is it just for money? Is it for him to get some money and then cash out and see you later? I mean, will the guy ever be champion? No, obviously. Like we see that now, right? Like we see the losses to
Right.
Pavlovich, we see the losses here. Yeah, he's not going to be champion. So Should he retire? No. Get that money while you can, and like run out that contract and get all the money possible before you retire. I say don't stop until someone stops you, meaning like the organization stop you. But just keep fighting, dude. If you're not getting badly hurt, do it for your family and for your money.
I agree. I'd like to see him fight a couple of more fights. I don't know if he got a new deal with him. I think he was looking for an 8-fight deal or whatever. And he's still putting butts in seats, and he's still entertaining. And I certainly will tune in every time he fights, no matter who he fights against. But as far as never being champion, I'm forced to painfully agree with you, because the heavyweight division, in fact, any division, there's no room for an incomplete fighter to be champion of the world, right? I mean, Alex Pereira was the only exception that rewrote that rule, and that was very, very temporary. Should Francis Lewis come back to the UFC? Quick question.
Should who?
Francis Ngannou. Francis Lewis. Francis Lewis is a high school in Queens, New York.
Should Francis Ngannou come back to the UFC? Hell no. No, of course not. No, you got to stand by your principles as a man, as an individual, as a professional. I think you got to stand by your principles, and you got to say, like, no, you don't always forgive and forget, right? He had bad relations. He felt like he was disrespected and whatnot. No matter what money they throw on the table, which will not be anywhere close to like $8 million a fight or whatever.
Right.
I think you stand by your principles and you say, no, I'd rather look, he signed to the PFL. He's doing the super fight division, all that crap. We'll see what happens, but no, never go back to UFC. Stand by your morals, stand by what you wanted, because they will never give in to the demands that you wanted, that you said you were fighting for. They're not gonna allow a third corner. They're not gonna allow the fighter advocate. They're not gonna allow all those things that you were saying you were standing for. So you damn well can't go back and not get those things, which we know the UFC will never give. So be a man of your word. See you later. That's fine. We'll support you in other things.
Well, for me, it's for the very operative word principle that I think he should come back and fight, right? He said he was going to fight John Jones, and he should come back for the simple reason that he said he should. Now, he ain't getting no $8 million, but there's got to be some kind of meeting in the middle where everybody's happy with pay-per-view points, paid sponsors and this and that. But you knock out Stipe Miocic. You don't give Stipe his rematch, right? You don't face John Jones, even though you said you want to fight John Jones, and John Jones wants to fight him. This is on Prince. If we're driven by principle, let's not forget the principle of giving the people what they want, giving the fans what they want. And on that principle, that's why I believe he should come back. But like you said, there's a difference between being used for cheap, for cheap amounts of money, and him standing his ground and knowing his value, knowing his worth. I'm not being dismissive at that argument, but if you're going to cite as a pretext principle, then I got to go with the other way for what I believe is also principle. So we covered our bases on that. A quick question. Will Conor McGregor ever fight again in the UFC? This is a quick question last time, and I'm going to re-asking that every time because I think we're going to come up with different answers.
Things have not changed. Things have not changed for me. No, I think he does not. I think the guy is juiced to the gills, and I think like this whole thing with USADA being gone and now them switching over to DFSI and USADA giving allegations that UFC may have been pushing for him to be able to exclude the 6-month rule, blah, 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 the 6-month P test or the whatever. I don't
remember how that worked out. Yeah. Remember last time they went through that trust system with Brock Lesnar and how did that work out, guys? Yeah. History will repeat itself.
Yeah. I think things are messed up. I think he's like, I don't know. And then who's he going to fight? I think he's probably, no offense, but I think he's a little bit concerned with coming back and losing pretty badly. Because you look at the possible contenders, you got Chandler, you got Gaethje, you got Dustin Poirier. Those are guys that are probably, not who you want to fight.
He would want to fight Tony, because Tony at this time is on a
give me a break.
Is on a losing. That's what I'm saying. It's on a losing streak.
No, this is bullshit. I know. Look,
but you know he would want to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying.
Of course, but that's
I don't want him to fight Tony.
No, that's pathetic. You might as well fight Forrest Griffin while you're at it. Like, if you're just gonna pick like old fighters to fight, and plus you're all juiced up, so like, no, man. What
was his last win? Say it with me. What was his last win? Donald Cerrone, right? So it's one of those. His last win. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's crazy. He didn't even throw a I'm not saying that. No, but listen, but I want to be very clear that I don't want him to fight Tony. I'm just saying that there was a time he wouldn't touch that fight. He got to jump the line, right? He got to beat Alvarez, and he saw Khabib, and he saw all the most savage division, and he's like, nah, I want to big fights. I want to fight, this guy, and eventually he got shamed into fighting the number one contender, who at the time was Khabib Nurmagomedov. But I'm thinking he's thinking that Tony Ferguson's ripe for the pickings, and I don't. It's not a fight I want. It's definitely not a fight that you want. But I'm thinking his only path back into the UFC is 300. 300 is enough time to shake off the juice, and he doesn't think he needs to be juiced to fight someone like Tony Ferguson. He ain't gonna fight Chandler.
He's not fighting Tony. Look,
Chandler will knock his head clean off his shoulders.
The only fight I really want to see him do, and it's impossible and it's not going to happen, but I want to see him go to BKFC, and I want him to fight I want to see him fight the winner of Platinum Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez, which happens December 2nd. Check out bkfc.com.
Oh, man. See, I owe you money. I got to go get my wallet, man. You're going to be expensive, man.
Platinum Mike Perry, like when he was there at the last Platinum Mike Perry fight at BKFC and walked into the ring and did cut that whole promo and all that was insane. If the UFC can somehow figure out how to cross promote with BKFC and let Conor McGregor fight the winner of Eddie Alvarez versus Mike Perry, that is money Golden. In the bank. Like fucking
that would put bare knuckle over the. I mean, I don't know where they are in terms of red and the black, but let me tell you something. That might change their sport forever if Conor fought.
It would be crazy to see that happen.
So you want to see him fight Mike Perry, but not Tony Ferguson.
Because Mike Perry, what do you mean? Mike Perry's in his prime. Mike Perry's still kicking ass.
He really is.
Tony Ferguson, I don't even know how he got up this morning. Like that, I mean, no offense, but that guy has seen a lot of damage and has looked very badly in his last few fights.
Actually, he's looked pretty good until he's gotten knocked out. Like Bobby Green.
Yeah, Bobby Green keep getting knocked out. You can't keep getting knocked out like that. It is bad for your health.
Yep.
It is bad for you overall. I don't know.
His chin. No, listen, his chin's not right for the sport anymore. But you consider before he got knocked out by Chandler, he was winning that fight. The only fight that I thought he was just actively losing was against Bobby Green.
I guess to me, it's just when you get knocked out in such a savage way.
Yes.
Scary, man. It's really scary. And if it happens one time, that's one thing. But when it's happening consecutively, fight after fight after fight.
But I don't know. Sorry, I want to end this by being biased for a little bit and say forget about Tony Ferguson. So anyone who watches this show that's worth a damn, Conor McGregor, Bobby Green. Give Bobby Green his fight, because everyone would love to see Bobby Green. Conor wants a fighter that probably potentially won't take him down, though Bobby Green's got that in his toolbox too. Give Bobby Green his rub, Conor McGregor. If you're listening, that's a fight where the fans want to see it. That's a fight where stylistically it's a dream for everybody. That's a fight where both guys who came from nothing, who wound up to something and have these great comeback stories. There's no rivalry. It doesn't have to be this active hate to be this fight where everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, I'm salivating over this. I'm all right. I'm a prisoner of the moment. I'm biased, and my guess is you are too. Let's go Bobby against Conor.
I like it. I like that, but I like that, but I worry that that's not sellable and that the UFC wouldn't see that as the crazy money fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Right. I love Bobby Green with all my heart. He's my favorite of all time.
Right.
But I just don't know that he would do it. I also love Bobby to the point where I don't know that I'd want him in that kind of emotional event, because I feel like in my uneducated opinion, I've seen Bobby where like sometimes being in weird spots kind of bothers him. Again, I've spoken to him. I've talked to him, interviewed him. He's a great guy, but he's a very emotional, real human being. Oh. And I feel like to get into those media scrums with McGregor being like a total asshole and all that, like what we saw with Diaz when Diaz kind of shrunk away from it. It's a weird spot to put someone. And I feel like I wouldn't even want to see Bobby in that.
Yeah, you don't want to see somebody in that who's about that life. Right? You know, and I agree with, no, because remember Floyd Mayweather and McGregor? When McGregor insults people, oh, he's the brash Irishman or whatever, right? But then when Floyd went straight up street on him, then everybody was like, "Oh, it was an S show. It was a crap show. Oh, it's bad for the sport." And I'm like, "Oh, it wasn't bad for the sport when Conor was talking all that nonsense, though, right? He's cultural. He's Irish. That's the way he is. Yeah. But when Floyd went straight street on him, you know, went straight street on him. Yeah. All of a sudden, oh, this is bad for it's a crap show. And I see a lot of that with Bobby Green. I see Bobby Green literally getting up and smacking his dude on his PZ head for saying something disrespectful, and only for everyone to say this is bad for the sport, when the guy, like you said, who perpetuates all that stuff, it's like he can do it, and when no one does anything back, it's okay. It's good for the sport. Yeah. I mean, it boils over with Nurmagomedov. It boiled over with Nurmagomedov. Everyone's like, "Oh, what's wrong with Khabib?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking? Are you talking? You insult someone's wife. You insult someone's religion." Some people don't play that. Free speech? No. Free speech in America protects you from government persecution. It don't protect you from a Khabib-style bear wrestling butt whooping that dominates you for 4 rounds until you say uncle. All right, we got 2 minutes of our time, which is all I really want to spare about this. Ariel had a little spat with Chael Sonnen that some people thought was like a work, but it kind of wasn't because it got a little personal. And I want to go first for 30 seconds on this. I think I commented on Ariel's selection saying the whole thing was exhausting, but I wanted to let him know that I have different opinions, but I support his show because he was there from day one. In fact, he was the only guy, and he was the measuring stick that everyone wants to compare their MMA podcast to. But with that being said, you can't say I get to say whatever I want to Chael because we're friends and friends talk about each other, but then previously spend an entire episode playing the victim or going on Twitter saying, "Oh, he called me a weasel. That had implication. Oh, he's gone too far," and this and that. So for me, I was mad at Ariel because you can't have it both ways. You can't say I could say what I want because we're like brothers, but then go on Twitter before you said that, almost 2 days apart, playing the victim. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and for me, I'm sorry, but what if the person you called a weasel is acting like a weasel? Anything you'd like to? Do you want to skip on this one? How hard is your stop?
I feel like as a media person myself, right, and interviewing people and things like that, I understand that if I were to say something on my podcast or I were to post something, I have to be aware that the person I'm saying it about can see it. And I have to think of myself as being somewhat impartial. I can say, "Hey, you're my favorite fighter. Hey, I love you, blah, blah, blah," all that kind of stuff. But in the end, I do have to uphold myself. And I'm not even true media. You know what I mean? Like I'm a novice. I'm an amateur. I'm a whatever. But I still try to uphold myself to some level of respect for everybody. Right. And I can have my opinions, of course, and I can say things to try and get and elicit a response from the fans or from the person that I'm speaking to. But in general, I have to be respectful.
Right.
I don't appreciate when I see Ariel go so deep and so hard. I think it's a little bit silly. Like it's either it's a contrived work, or it's just nonsense, or it's just like, why would you do something like that? I feel sometimes we maybe get a little bit too big for our britches, and we think we're better than we are, or we think that we're more powerful or more important than we really are. And I think in this world, you have to be a little bit more respectful of everybody around you, no matter what you think about them. As a media person putting out supposedly impartial content, but maybe you're not. I don't know. This world is so weird. Maybe you're just like, "Hey, I am who I am, and if I hate you, I can tell you to F off and whatever." But that's why I'm not that's not why I am watching you. I'm watching you because I think that you're a media professional and an impartial person. So when you take those hard lines and act like that, it does throw me off, and I don't like it. And I will say, I felt like Chael, if you watch that whole thing, I feel like he stayed on that interview far too long than he should have. I feel like I don't agree with where
he came to celebrate the win, right? He went on to celebrate the win.
I guess, but Chael was weird too, and he had his weird arguments and angles that he was trying to take it. But I feel like once Ariel saw where this was going, both of them should have said, "Hey, you know what? I gotta go. blah, blah, blah. Don't hang up like that. I feel like you should have exited in a better way. But ultimately, I put more of the fault on Ariel for that whole interaction and say, like, hey, as the professional in that moment on your show, you need to take control and see where this is going. But then you can't help but think maybe he's doing this for the clicks and the likes.
Maybe.
So.
Well, it got triple digits. It got 715,000 views, right? He was only wrong in two respects. I thought he was wrong when he said, "Don't be a coward, say it to my face." What does that have to do with anything? Don't be a coward, say it to my face, right? The guy and Chael is like, yeah. I mean, I don't even know what that was about. Like, what does being a coward and have to do with that? That was a personal attack. Also, in the beginning, like he's like, "Do you apologize to me because I was right and you were wrong about how it turned out?" You don't apologize for picking an event, right? That's because that's like taking credit for what Francis Ngannou did. Why are you taking credit for something someone else did, right? You know, I mean,
yeah, no, it was a whole weird thing. It started out very much like they're friends and they're just jibbing each other.
Yeah, because it was the bad guy, Ariel and the bad guy.
But then it got weird and just I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's not my vibe. That's not why I like to watch. In all honesty, I started to watch it, and then it kind of sickened me to the point where I was going to turn it off. Not that I'm a pussy or anything like that, but just like I was just like, all right, I don't really enjoy this. But then I listened to it just so that I could talk about it, like on my show or on your show. You know what I mean? So I could be educated about it. Mm-hmm. But it was painful to watch, man. And it says a lot about society if you're watching that shit and you enjoy that stuff.
Yeah. We're 3 minutes past of even indulging in this conversation. No, the hard stop is yours. So but I appreciate you staying on the extra 3 minutes to even indulge in that because it is important. He is one of the more important journalists in whatever. And I have so much respect for the guy, but again, it doesn't mean my respect for him doesn't affect my critical thinking skills, nor does it yours. Click your website again. Let everybody know who you're about because we got to do this. We got to do this again for the next evolution.
This is important. Look, I know a lot of you watch this, and I appreciate you watching this. And please come on over to my podcast after you watch this one. Always watch this podcast first, and then your second favorite podcast can be mine. It is the Fight Insight Podcast. Check us out, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, at Fight Insight Podcast. Check us out. I've made mention a few times. I dropped some bombs here, but we have guests every week. Every single week, we have guests from around the world of combat sports, UFC, Bellator, whatever. This week, 2 guests. I got Jared Gordon and Bellator bantamweight champion Rafion Stotts. So I got two guests this week. Next week, we've got guests. Every week, we've got guests. Come check it out.
I'm definitely tuning into the Jared Gordon thing. Text him and tell him he's got a fan. Tell him he's got a native New Yorker that really appreciates his journey. Once again, boys, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. This is episode 99 of Sports Debate Tuesday. That man is Timmy B. I'm Jason DeBiz. We're going to hit my music. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.